Lovely.
So it should come up with a little thing that says,
yeah,
you give permission. Oh,
got it.
got it?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
And then when we get to, if Alan comes out and he has a little interval, I then stop it and then we start it again, only because sometimes we have this little chat in between. So, Alan, go to sleep.
Right. Oh, God.
Do you know, I've just clicked, Judith, and got a big screen. Before it was a tiny weeny screen.
Well, there you go. You see the magic of technology.
I just thought there was a little thing that you could poke on and it goes bing.
There probably is, but don't worry about it.
Oh.
So while Alan's going to his place, and he has this place, so he goes to a place. So he takes his Alan bit, and he puts it somewhere. Never quite sure where he puts himself, because some people have little rooms, some people have
little room with a big white pillow.
There you go. Go
big
to
white
sleep.
pillow that comes down.
Go to sleep.
I just heard you say goes to a little room, so I wanted to say,
yeah,
right,
it goes to a little room with a big white pillow. And Alan goes to this room with a little white pillow and detaches himself from his consciousness in his physical. And
it's a room with a pillar.
Lovely room with a pillar. Yes, pillar.
Yeah, yeah.
And then he detaches himself and then allows the spirit to start to come forward. So my role, even though I'm sitting at home, I've got my friends from Spirit here, making sure that they're looking after Alan where he is, and making sure that we're all protected and looked after, and etc., etc. So I'm like what they would call the old-fashioned gatekeeper, or the conductor in the old days. And it's my role to make sure that if somebody comes through, I get my people to because we're never sure who's going to come through. I get my people to poke Alan and wake him up again, even though I'm sitting four roads further up the road than he is, in a little screen. I just find it really fascinating that we can do it in this way, and Spirit are just so clever.
Mm-hmm.
You may notice that sometimes Alan's face will change slightly. He doesn't transfigure a lot, but sometimes there's little subtle changes. Sometimes you'll notice, if you look at the other sitters, that because all our energies are combining as we sit here, and we give that energy and that love and everything else. You'll notice that people might appear on the wall behind you. I have this lady who sits above my head on the wall behind me. You might be able to see her, and she helps me from the other side. So she sits there. She's just here on the wall. Okay, so she'll just sit there. She's like the conductor on the other side, in the other circles of Spirit. So I just find it fascinating and a pleasure and an honour to be able to do this. When Alan has gone, he's almost there, he will speak. People think that sometimes this is an instant process. It's Alan's been doing this for a very, very long time, even longer than I've been sitting with him. And some people just think, oh, I can go to circle and I can go to a couple of lessons, I can be an instant trance medium. It's what I call a pot noodle, add water and stir. And it's the same with mediumship. It's a lifetime's experience and a lifetime's journey from the moment you take that first breath to the moment you take that last breath here on the physical earth. And then, of course, you still are a medium, because on the other side, you're still doing the same sort of work. So if you think that you're going to be sitting plucking a harp or sitting by a nice pool sipping a pina colada, you're in for a shock.
Never mind, John.
We're almost there.
I think Maud will come through.
Yeah.
First.
So we've got a lady called Maud who comes through, who is like the conductor on Alan's side, on the spirit side.
I'm here.
Hello, darling. How are you?
I can hear you talking about me.
Oh, bless you, darling.
Now, it's very nice to see you all. I hope you're well.
We are.
And just for the
Reasonably.
record, I'm not Irish either.
Sorry, Maud?
I'm not Irish.
No, you're not Irish. No, we know you're not Irish.
I was born a long, long time ago. And I remain the same person that stayed in the same mountains and countryside to where I was born.
That's lovely.
So I hope that you're going to enjoy this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I won't tell you who's going to come through. It will be quite a surprise.
Oh, good. I love a surprise.
No, you don't.
Yeah, well.
I know that you've been thinking about different people that are going to come through that will embarrass yourself.
Yes, yes.
But don't worry, dear, because we don't do that.
No.
I've had me soup, so I'm all ready.
Okay.
Now, here comes the first person now.
Thank you, Maud.
Don't thank me until it's over and done with.
We won't.
But you just have, dear. So now we will start, and we will tell you as much as we possibly can. If that's okay with all of you.
It is.
Yes, yes.
Good, jolly good. It's nice to see everybody on here. It's a shame that there's not a lot more, but then spirituality will grow as time goes by. And there's a lot of lessons to be learnt as well. So I will bid you farewell for the moment, and I will speak to you very, very soon.
Okay, thank you.
As long as I don't get pushed off my box, which I have to stand on because I'm only small. Good evening, everybody.
Hello, Sydney.
How are you, dear?
I'm very well, my darling. It's so nice to hear you.
Well, it's been a very long time. I don't know how long, but they say how long is a piece of string, and we don't know.
No.
No, it's very nice to be here after such a long, well, it's been a very long time, actually.
It has.
And I will introduce myself. My name is Sydney, and I originated from London. I worked in Clapham Junction, and I was a woodworker. So I used to travel all the way, and during the war as well, with all the boodle bugs and whatever they were called, and the bombs that were falling out of the sky. So it was a war-torn world that I lived in. Not the best of lives that I had. Some lives would be very, very sad, really. I lived with my sister Enid for quite some time before she departed to the spirit world, which we are now together, though. But in the time of her passing, it was a very, very hard time. because I didn't know nothing about the afterlife then, not as much as I do now, which is obviously because I'm in there. But it was not a nice time, I think, to be brought up during the World Wars. As I expect a few of you would have read about or seen about or got very many stories to tell about the World Wars. And the doodlebugs, that was it, the doodlebugs. So and I remember them dropping all over London as well. So it was a very courageous but very hard time. And I only lived in a little house. It was very small. And me and my sister, we had our own chairs, which we used to sit in on a regular basis and have a nice little cup of tea with some biscuits as well. But the biscuits were on ration then, so we had to take what was given at the time. But my sister, though, she suffered with such bad health. So I attended many years of looking after her, even while I was working as a carpenter and making lots of different things. I still used to rush home and cook dinner and make sure she was well provided for. But I'd done my best. But in her ill health days, I still had to look after her because putting someone in hospital is not something that everyone likes to do when it's a close member of your own family. But I think in your world now, which we all do know about, and we sympathise with the amount of people that have been lost in your world and all come over to our world. But there's always a reason for a reason, as we know. And sometimes we think, oh, why does God punish us? Why does God do this? Well, it's got nothing to do with God. He doesn't just take you by the neck and drag you over here. And he would not deliberately split up a loving family or a bonding family. And he doesn't particularly pick on one race either, because there is no race. Everyone is everyone. A soul is a soul, and a soul is a human person. And so everybody's a human. And if you think about all the animals, which I know Judith was talking about earlier on, bless her, all the animals that pass from your world do come to our world. But in your world, it's hard to talk to animals because they can't talk back. So they show it in expressions and in ways. If they don't like you, they probably bite you or scratch you. But when they come to the spirit world, we know exactly what they're saying because it's all done by thought. And it's only at times like this where we come through, we speak through medium, that we're allowed to portray our voices as such. But I'm sure if a dog came through now, you'd probably bark. But in our world, though, we can actually hear what they're saying, whether it be a cat, a dog, a horse, a squirrel, or even a little mouse. It doesn't matter what comes over to the spirit world, everything is understood as to what happens and what goes on. And you know, there's a few good mediums, I think, in your world that I think they draw pictures of the spirit persons. But why can't an artist draw animals? I know there are a few, but there's not many. And you know, animals are so important to be remembered. And if we don't remember animals, how can they remember us? But they never forget us. You've gone very quiet, dear. Are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here, Sydney. I'm listening intently on my best behaviour.
Well, am I making sense?
Of course you are, my darling.
Well, you know, because animals are an important factor, I think, in life and all through life. And we all know it started off with the dinosaurs ruling the world. And people think, you know, because the world exploded and all the dinosaurs got killed and they were burned to death or whatever through a big meteorite that slammed into the earth, what happens to them? And as we know, every living thing has a soul. Even the trees and the plants and the flowers and the bushes, how do you think that they grow flowers? How do you think they grow buds? Or why does a flower grow once a year? Everything has a soul. It may be an old bulb to some people. To us, a flower is a living thing, and a tree is a living thing. A bush is a living thing. And maybe, you know, sometimes even that has to pass away, but then it sprouts up again the following year. Like us humans, really. And I say like us humans because we really are the human beings not of the spirit world, but we are real human beings of the real world. You're the spirits, you're the ghosts, because of your life that you have in your world. You never know whether it's going to come to an end at any stage. You're born into life as a baby, but you never know what the death sentence is. And I'm sure this has been said before, but when you come home to the spirit, you do have a choice, whether you want to be reborn or whether you want to stay with the family that you love the most. I prefer to stay with my family and stay with my sister because it was my choice. But some people are reborn, and that's why, so many younger people or young women get pregnant, because the baby that they give birth to is an old soul. And sometimes, we always know an old soul by what the child says as it grows up or the way it looks. Because 9 times out of 10, I say 9 times out of 10, the baby or the child always looks like a relative or acts like a past relative, which is quite strange, really. And I'm sure a lot of people say, oh, it's spooky. But it's not spooky, it's just life. And even though I think that a lot of the younger generation in your world now are more psychic or more mediumistic, but they just don't know it. So do we train, or do you want to train such young children, or wait until they grow into their young adulthood? But they have to make a decision, and they have to choose whether they want to be or not want to be. And regarding the spirit world, you can either switch on or switch off, because it is like a light bulb, as I always say. You can switch on and see the light, or you can turn the light off and never enter. But I always say 9 times out of 10, though, the light's normally switched on. But we approach with caution, and we approach in God's love to help that person develop very slowly, but normally in their sleep state, when they're fast asleep, snoring or not snoring, coughing their poor little stomachs up. But we send them little messages, or we send them in dream states where they will understand. And then they wake up thinking, why did I dream that? Why did I dream of great Auntie Bertha, or great Nanny Hill, or great Granddad? There's always a reason for a reason. And I'm sure each and every one of you here tonight have thought of this. Have you been reborn? Have you been in a previous life? And I would say, yes, you have. And that's why you're here again. It's not for lessons to be learned, because you learn by your own mistakes and you learn by your own valuation of life, which is very important. By the way, Judith, what year are you in now?
We're in 2022.
Oh my God, that's a long, long time, isn't it?
It is, Sydney.
Well, since my time and your time now, there's been many lessons learned, but many lessons have been broken. Many rules and laws have been broken and risen. And this is all down to the human function. This is all down man-made or woman-made, really, because we can't blame the men all the time, because some women can be extremely bossy. Some men can be extremely bossy. But then some women are born with no brains at all, which is an unkind thing to say, but they are born with no brains, but their talents hide elsewhere. The same as it is with a man. He can be the Prime Minister or the King of England for one day and then abdicate because he doesn't feel that he's worthy of being a king or worthy of being anything special in life. But he travels on in his day doing what he knows best. But people are very quick to judge. And I found that in your world, judgment is far more greater now as who can be the best? Who can be the best medium? Who can be the best healer? Who can be the best at everything? No one can. Unless you follow your own spiritual path, you're as good as what we make you to be, make you as we want you to be. And we do follow a lot of mediums, I must say we do. But there is a massive difference, between a psychic medium or psychic medium and a medium. Now, to me, I always say that a psychic medium is a body language medium. They read from your body language, they read from your eye movements, Yet a spiritual medium will bring through evidence from our world, the real world. And that is a proof because, you know, many, many years ago, people loved to hear from Auntie Flo or Granny Gloria or Grandad, but they don't seem to want to do that these days. And then we say that the people in the audience have changed, but has the mediumship changed? I'm going to say yes, it has, but sometimes it's not for the good reasons, it's for the bad reasons. And I say this with such horror, really, in a way, you know, but it's more ego. It's a very big ego thing that a lot of mediums have, which they should not have because they want to be the clown or the court jester and say, look at me, aren't I super? Where really they're making a spectacle of themselves. So we must question ourselves, how much do they have the gift or how much haven't they got the gift? But who is going to be true to who? And you see, there's so many people in your audiences that I've seen over the years that always say, oh yes, I can take that. Then outside they go and they say, I couldn't understand a damn word of what she was saying or what he was saying. So my point is, why be disloyal? Why don't you tell the medium that it's a load of rubbish, that they need to get back into a development class and learn properly? Because to make the link with the spirit world, as I'm sure that most of you would know on here, is not an easy task. It's a hard task. It takes years and years, not a few weeks or a few days. It takes years or a lifetime to get to the standards of where you've got to be. Now, it's such a shame, you know, that this has to be mentioned. But I thought I would mention it because there was others that would mention it, but not in a nice way that I have done, which I think, you know, it needs to be addressed and taught the way it should be taught. And I'm sure Miss Lynn would value, you know, that the old style of teaching, or Mr. John, that the old style of teaching is the best form of teaching. The modern teaching of Spiritism isn't so good because they cut corners and they don't pay attention. And I've seen so many people that sit there in classes and without being rude or crude, they sit there picking their nose or looking at their phones to see who's texting or who's writing to them or whatever they're doing, but they're not paying attention. So that's when you have to draw the line and say, get out, you're not required. Stay in, you are required. You need to be judgmental to yourself, but judgmental on the person that is not prepared to learn. Does that make sense?
Certainly it does.
And I don't mean this in a harsh way, because I'm not a harsh person. But, you know, sometimes we need to look at things on more of a book cover, like the old-fashioned books of the years that have gone by. I mean, I've actually seen Mr. Leslie Flint, who is now in the spirit world, and he still demonstrates over there.
Brilliant.
So, you know, whatever you were in this life, you carry on doing in the afterlife because that's all you know what's best. And I'm sure you will, Judith, and Miss Lynn will, and the gentleman, Mr. John, will. You'll still continue to do the spiritual work because that's the way you were brought up to be. In early years of your life may not have been easy, but there was always lessons to be learned. But look how you all turn it around. And your hearts are in the right place because you've chosen for your hearts to be in the right place. And instead of backlash, you understand and you give truthful words back. But sometimes, you know, people in your world don't like the truth, but the truth is the truth. And you can't give anybody any border dash because it's not necessary and not required. So you have to be truthful to your words and truthful and loyal to your God and my God, may I say. But, you know, it's very, very difficult, I think. I don't think I'd like to live in your world at this time. I was more happier with the doodlebugs crashing around London and the unexploded bombs. And life was life, but it was a busy but a contented life because we we did go short of food. We didn't have a lot of food, but we survived and we managed. It was hard at times, and sometimes we'd have to scrape the mould off the bread. But we still ate it, because if we threw that bread away, it was nothing to eat. So we used to scrape the mould off, and even if we had no butter, which we very rarely didn't, we would always eat it and survive. And survival of the fittest is survival. And if you can't survive, you sink. And I have to say, you will sink like the Titanic in 1912. And all those people on that boat didn't know they were going to die then. And it was such a tragedy, really, that such a massive great vessel like that actually sank with all those people on there. But then, if you look at the people, or the people that are in charge of the boat, some are very selfish. And they only thought to themselves, let's save me, but the rest can die. And it wasn't just British people, it was Jewish people, Catholic people, every nationality. And to me, you look after everybody, you look after everyone. You don't have the selective few. And there was a lot of rich people as well. But they were thought of more because they were rich and they were wealthy. But was their life as rich and wealthy? You don't have to portray yourself as a rich person to be the person. You are who you are. And you learn by your mistakes, as many of us have, even myself in my day. And I'm sure in your day of your growing up in your youth, I'm sure Miss Lynn has suffered immensely in her life, but she keeps it all to herself. Or Mr. John, he suffered quite a lot in his life, but he keeps his hat on. No disrespect. Or Mrs. Jean, or Mrs. Moira. You've all had such tragic passings in your life, and you've had such tragic misunderstandings that have gone on, but you've got through it through determination. And there's no point in holding guilt or blame on yourself, because you're not at fault. And you can't blame the person for what they did, because everybody knows what they do in their lives, and they can either be at fault or they're taken before their time, which you can often say, well, why did God take them? Why did God destroy our lives? It had nothing to do with life. It had nothing to do with God. He's part of the human anatomy, or the human body, that gives up after a while. And it's like, if you have lung disease, God can't replace the lungs. Only your medical people can do that. If they fail, then they fail. But if they win, then the person wins. But sometimes it's easier to blame God, as a lot of people do, which is unfair, because after a while you think about things and you think to yourself, well, no, God's not to blame, really. I don't blame him, because why would he want to take thousands and millions of people from this world to our world? There's no contentment and there's no desire to kill anybody, really. It's just part of human life. And as I say, it goes back to when you were born, that you're born with a death sentence, but you just don't know what age your death sentence is. Am I making sense so far?
Yes, Sydney, definitely.
Oh, good. So you see, life is very rewarding or non-rewarding, but life is how you make it to be. Wealth comes naturally in life when you treat others with respect, the way that you want respect back. But others want respect when it's not served. And that's where greed comes in. And I would say there's quite a little bit of obnoxiousness that comes in as well with people. But we all have lessons to learn, as I did, as my sister did, and probably as your relatives have done as well. Because no one is perfect in your world or my world, really. Because otherwise we wouldn't be where we are now, would we?
No, we wouldn't.
Am I making sense?
Yes, definitely, Sydney.
Oh, good. I wouldn't like to talk a load of rubbish for you, dear.
Never, never, darling.
Well, and you see, life is life. It can give you your own riches, but you haven't got to hold out your hand, because God gives you the riches in various ways of your own pathway, your own development, or what's needed. And it's never shared. because you don't need to share what you have with anybody. Just share it with yourself and your families, because they are the number one support that everyone needs in life. And in the spirit world, we don't have no weather complaints because it's always lovely warm. And it's much better as well. We have fields and we have trees and mountains, meadows, fields. And where in your world is full of doom and gloom and dusk and cold and rain, where we have none of that. And it does make you think, oh, I think I'll kill myself today. I'll go over and join them. But why? Why would you want to come over to our side? You can only come over to our side when your time's up. And I know, during your in your world at the moment, I know you're going through a tragic time through this virus thing that you've got going on. And we do know about all this virus and everything else that comes on board. And the amount of people that you've lost that have come over to our world. And admittingly, they don't like the fact that they're over in our world because they'd rather have their own life back. But sometimes if you don't look after yourself, then who's going to look after you? We can show you the way, we can guide you, but are you going to take the hint, or are you going to still do what you want to do and carry on walking, talking, laughing, joking, when really you go home and you cry your eyes out because you know you've done something naughty? So always admit the truth, because the truth is the number one priority in your lives that I feel that everyone should admit to. I know sometimes even the medium I'm talking to, for example, how he's changed over the years, and how Judith has changed over the years, how you've all changed over the years. And you're more heavenly now than what you've ever been in your lives.
Thank you, Sydney.
Sometimes, when you think back all those years when you weren't heavenly and you weren't so wonderful, and yes, you do think about the past. It wouldn't be natural if you didn't. But it's what's more important now in your lives that makes you thrive on. And it gives you evidential proof of visitations that you have from the spirit world, where I'm sure most of you have seen angels or you've seen some form of visitation from the spirits. And you can blink and you can blink and you think to yourself, did I really see that? Did I really hear that? But yes, you did, because it's for your eyes and your ears only. We like to surprise people, but we only like to surprise those people that are going to respect the spirits and not disrespect the spirits. Because all in all and all in life is about helping. Now, we can help as many people as we can, but we need to reciprocate it back by saying, thank you, Spirit, please help me more, and we will. But when there's a no, 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 we still say yes, yes, yes. And, it's an awful thing to bring up, but, you have the devil in the deep blue sea. Now, I'd rather go in the deep blue sea than converse with the devil. And to me, the devil was the fallen angel of Christ, or the fallen angel of God, really. And so, battling with him is like finding the good people in your world, where the devil finds his own people in this world to do his unruly tasks, or his murderings, or guns or knives. What is the point of killing someone, stabbing or shooting someone? There is no point at all. So we do our best, we try our best, and we will continue to do our best in saving as many like-minded people as we can. But, it's never going to be an easy task, and it never will be an easy task. Because, simply, it's like the good and the bad. You have to fight for the rest of your life. It's a bit like spiritism, You either believe or you don't want to believe. You either want to be a part of our life or non-part of our life. But in time, you'll find that being part of the spiritism or reading books on past mediums is the most fascinating thing that you could ever witness. And you can read the books and you can think to yourself, why can't I be like them? Why can't I behave like them? Well, you can be like them, but you've got to you've got to be yourself. And you've got to act like yourself, not act like them, because they were here for a purpose. You're here for a purpose. And you are you, but only you can change. No one can change you, but only your own personality can change. Am I still making sense, dear?
Yes, you are. So of
All
course
right.
you are, Sydney.
Well, I don't want to bore people, you know. Do you know, but what year was you in again, dear?
Sorry, Sydney, say that again.
What year are you in again?
2022.
Oh, dear me, that's a long way off, isn't it? Well, I should imagine, you know, in your world today is far more worse than it was during the Doodlebug day. And it's
It
more or less, I would say, the same sort of thing. All the trouble that you have in your world today is more or less all the trouble we had in our world, but we only had to go through the war. Where I can actually say, you know, that what's going on in your world at the moment with the terrible virus and all that, and it will come to an end very soon.
Thank you.
I don't think it will ever go away because it's a bit like the chicken pox and every other virus that you've had, and the mumps and God knows what else. And we had the mumps when I was around. And there was diphtheria, and there was brain tumours, which are now more manageable than they were in my day. So, but I do actually want to say that the virus thing that's going around at the moment will no more be than about 4 or 5 months, I believe, from the date you're in now. And as you know, the spirit world doesn't lie, and we can't lie. We wouldn't know how to lie. If we are, we're banished. And I don't know who'd want to put up with me if I was banished. I certainly know that Judith wouldn't like me to be banished.
No, certainly not, Sydney. I love you.
Oh, you are so sweet, dear. So, you know, there's so much to learn, so much to read. But what about reading the old books, the Old Testament? You know, and I could say about the Bible and the books and all that. Now, they are very interesting to read. But, you know, since Jesus wrote the book many, many millions of years ago or thousands of years ago, who's to know what is in the book now is the absolute truth. We need our own spiritual input to get across to people, not some writing out of a book that, I don't know, Joan or Jack or John actually wrote a little bit, but he didn't get the transcription right. Admittedly that some of it is, but there's a lot of it that isn't, and that's my own personal view. So you see, you know, spread the word, because the word is the word, and it helps a great, great deal of people understand. And we give a lot more people credibility to know that they are worthy of being the person that they are, not pretending to be the person that they are. There's too much talk and not enough action. But there should be more action and less talk. More understanding, less talk. Does that make sense?
Definitely.
Well, as long as it does, I don't want to talk a load of old rubbish. So you see, but I'm going to leave you with those thoughts at the moment.
Thank you.
You know, because I don't want to waste too much time, the medium's time, because it does take a lot of energy to do this. And I haven't done this for a long time. So what I'll do is I will step back for a little while and let the medium have a little bit of a rest before the next one comes in. I know who it is anyway. And all I'm going to say is one of Judith's favourites.
Oh, thank you.
But don't worry, dear, he's going to be perfectly okay.
Good.
But it is very nice that you're allowing me on your little magic machines.
It's always a pleasure.
And thank you, dear. And it's always nice to speak to new people, and truthful and honest people like yourselves are, and to spread the word. And, you know, tally ho, let's go. Because we can make your world a better place to live in by telling the truth and being truthful. Never fear, because the truth is always here, and it will be there to share with a lot more other like-minded people like yourself. They just haven't got the gumption to speak up where you have. So I will say, tally ho, take great care, everyone.
Tally
Thank you
ho,
again for
Sydney.
letting me
Thank you, my
speak.
darling.
Now
Thank
you're
you.
stealing my word line now, Judith. It's me that says tally ho. You may say goodbye.
Goodbye. Goodbye. You see, I can never behave myself.
Well, that's very naughty of you, but you are human, though, after all. But thank you so much for allowing me to come through. And I'll give the medium a little bit of a rest now, because I know how exhausting it is to do what he does. But, you know, I wish there'd be so many more other good mediums in your world. There probably are other mediums that can do exactly the same as what he does, but they've yet to be discovered. At least you know that the truth is the truth. So I will bid you all farewell.
God bless you,
And
Sydney.
tally ho, let's go. Take great care, everyone, and God bless you all, and God bless your families as well.
God bless you too, and love to Enid.
Thank you, dear.
We're just going to have a change, or Alan might come back for a little rest. But considering that Sydney's talked for about 45 minutes, it went really quickly. And it does, because it's so fascinating when you're listening to those real words that are coming from somebody. And I've met Sydney on many, many occasions. Now, our next character, if he comes in straight away, is a bit formidable, and he's got to be on his best behaviour. He's a bit of a sauce pot. That's the only way I can describe him. He's lovely, but a bit of a sauce pot. Right, I'm going to put it on pause, and then we can take you all off mute. There we go. Just so that we don't miss anything. Sometimes going back in again is quicker than the first time round. We just don't know what's going to happen. We used to have a character who used to have like a glass of sherry in the middle. But and it had to be Coburn's, not Harvey's Bristol Cream. Alan's not a drinker, so used to have a glass of water. I'm going to get you to put yourself on mute again now, if that's possible, just because this is who I think it is. Yeah, just be prepared for a little bit of a surprise. This is the sort of person that would like to do the boo and jumping out of the wardrobe at you.
Will there be no booing in my show?
Oh, hello, Maud.
Well, I've got to come back and let you know that the person that was here, thanks you so much for letting him talk.
Oh, that's a pleasure always.
But I've spoken to the next gentleman and he won't be no booing or crowing.
Good.
So he won't be scaring yourselves at all.
No, because he's frightened old ladies at seances.
Well, that was a long time ago, dear.
Was a little while ago.
So we must not live in the past, and we got to live in the present day.
We have.
And accept, you know, that we are all different, but we are people.
Yes.
So we are not ghouls and ghosts. We are the real people. So now I would let the other gentleman come in if you're ready for him.
We are. I'm braced.
He's all done up, all smart.
Good.
I won't tell you what he's wearing because I'm sure he'll want to tell you himself.
I'm sure he will.
I'm sure he will. And can I say to you, though, don't antagonise.
No.
I know sometimes you get a little bit antagonistic towards him. But you got to remember, though,
Yes.
No, he's honest, George. He's honest. And everybody's honest, and he was in his day. But look at well, I won't say where he got to in life. I'm sure he'll tell you himself.
I'm sure he will.
But he wouldn't have got there if it wasn't for his, as you call it, antagonism,
No.
control and leadership. And I'm not talking of Hitler either.
No, definitely not.
No. So we wouldn't get no one like that coming in at all.
No.
So I would leave you like that.
Thank you, Maud.
And I haven't finished it, dear, so don't thank me yet.
Okay.
You're very quick to say goodbye, dear. Never say goodbye. It's always hello, how are you doing? Well, say hello, how are you doing?
Hello, how are you? How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you, dear.
Good.
So
Good.
now he's the second one that's coming in now. Miss Freeman, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Yes. Oh. Now I see you have a nice little flock of people for me to talk to.
Yes, you have.
I'm going to be on my best behaviour.
Yes, please, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Yes, I know what to do, dear. You don't have to keep telling and blabbing on.
Okay.
I have been pre-told what to say, and I don't need you as my broadcaster to tell me what I've got to say.
All right, I'll leave you to it.
Would you be quiet? I'm the spirit person, you are the earth person. My name is Colonel Frank Gray. Now, did you get that?
Yes, Colonel Frank Gray.
And I was in the Royal British Legion, but also colonel of an army in India in the war. But we won't talk too much about that because I'm not allowed to use language that is not formidable for this evening. But I led a lot of soldiers in the army over in the sea, but I originally come from Buckinghamshire in England. So, and I had a nice big house with Mrs. Gray, of course, scrawny woman, but a nice lady. And I keep wanting to drown her, but she won't die on me, bless her. And also I have a chauffeur called Bagpuss, who drives me around in my little Rolls Royce all the time. Only we don't go too far now because he's blind as a bat and we can't see where he's going, so we crash more often than we drive. And I always say to him, Bagpuss, well, you're going to end up killing us one day. And he says, but we're already dead. I said, well, carry on crashing us then. But no, I come from a very wealthy background. And it's been a very hard background, I will say, but it's not what you would call a fun, loving family. It was a very strict upbringing. And even as a child, I was sent off to, I nearly said Borstal, but it's not Borstal. It was like, how can you say, like a young cadets academy, really, where I had to learn the rules and regulations of being a good soldier. So, and I didn't get married until I was in my middle 30s. And I wish to God I had married her then, but then it's too bad because I had to anyway. But she was not a bad, well, she's a bit scrawny looking if you look at her. No waist on her, you couldn't see her waist because she was so thin. But a decent old person, really. I say old person, I could have called her something worse, but I won't. But Miss Freeman knows me quite well. You may say something, Miss Freeman.
I'm trying to be on my best behaviour, Colonel.
Don't, because why change a habit of a lifetime? You've got to be yourself, dear.
Yes.
And don't try and be all hoity-toity with me.
No, sir.
No, you don't call me sir either. Was you in the army? No, you wasn't.
No.
So if you was in the army, you would have to stand up and salute, and you can't stand up and salute.
No.
No, well, don't do that. Just call me Colonel.
Colonel.
Yes, Colonel Frank.
Colonel Frank.
Yes, and that would do well enough. But I do wish that you would say a little piece. And, I'm not going to blab on like the old codger Sydney has done. He's told you all about the world of spirits and all stuff like that. So I don't need to tell you about that. But even in the spirit world, we do have lovely countrysides. And I do love the countryside. And I do love what I call the fresh air, the warmth, because there's a constant warmth in the spirit world. I don't want suntan either. Because I never got no sun either when I was in your world, so I won't get no sun now. But there is a constant warmth, and it's quite a comfortable temperature. But I do sit in my garden, tending my garden, because I have acres and acres of land with untold flowers. Hence is why Bagpuss is my gardener as well as my chauffeur, who keeps smashing up the Rolls Royce all the time. But then you have to bless him, old man. But then you see, in my line of work, I don't know what to say really. Normally I'm not stuck for words, but I am at the moment. But spiritualism has never been a major role in my life. I thought it was a load of rubbish, really, until you actually come over to the spirit world and you realise that, oh, I've seen you before. Oh, aren't you dead? And they say, yes, but so are you. And I say, well, how did you get here? And they said, same way as you did. So you come back and you visit your own body. And when you see your own body lying sprawled out on the floor or the bed or the chair, it does give you a little bit of a startle because you think, oh God, I'm dead. And then everybody else that you see, your mums and your fathers and your uncles and your aunties, you see everybody, even generations back. You get to see everybody that even you like or you don't like, but you get to see them. But the one thing about the spirit world is that when you come over here, you're shown it's like a little cinema screen, but in a book. And in this book, you get to read and reread or watch the little footage or whatever of all the naughty things that you've done in life. So you have to forgive yourself for what you've done in life. And the more you forgive, the better you become a better person, if that makes sense. Does that make sense, Judith?
It does indeed.
Yes. Oh, lovely. So you see, so what you do in your world is all written down. It's a bit like, if you fart, it's all written down. Or if you've got constipation, it's all written down. Or if you do a good deed, it's all written down. Or if you clobber someone over the back of the head, it's all written down. But all the good things are also written down. So it depends on how many ticks you get, how many crosses you get in life. But even though, you could have 100,000 children, but it doesn't mean you're not spiritual. You can still be a spiritual person by having 100 kids. I'm lucky. Me and Mrs. Gray, we didn't have none of the little blighters, and we don't want none either. Well, we can't now anyway. But am I doing all right, Judith?
You're doing very well, Colonel.
I'm sure you'd tell me if I wasn't.
I'm sure I would.
I'm sure you would. Don't be cheeky. So you see, so no, I didn't want children, nor did Mrs. Gray. So, but life's life. And you never know what's around the corner. But, you can, as I was saying, you can have hordes and hordes of screaming children, and you can love them and hate them and beat them and whip them and do whatever you wish. But it's when you lose the child to the spirit world, and that's what makes you think. And sometimes, when your own child is ill or has to go in for an operation or has to go to a hospital and there's no reward or no return to sender, as say, that's what makes you love them more. And I always used to say to if you love them when they were born, why can't you love them in life? Love is a very strong word, but it's not used enough. I think, through things that I've seen in your world, the words hate, dislike, and disloyal is always used a lot more better than the word love, like, and you should all love. Love yourself. How can you love someone else if you don't love yourself? And you've got to love yourself to like yourself. And sometimes we've all lost a lot of people in our lives, as all of you have. And sometimes, you think to yourself, oh, I wish I said this, oh, I wish I said that, oh, I wish I'd admitted to it. We're too damn bloody late. You need to admit the truth while you're alive and living. Tell them that they were wrong. Tell them where they went wrong. And tell them the word sorry is the biggest medicine that anyone could have. Because sorry helps you move on. Sorry does not give you the cure, but it helps you move on of acceptance. So it's an easy word to say, better than saying, oh, well, he deserves all he gets and she deserves all she gets. Why? Why does she deserve all she gets? Why does he deserve all he gets? It's for the elders not to punish a person and not to punish yourselves, but to think and to rationalize the situation as to how can I help him? Even the power of thought, which I thought was a load of codswallop in my day when I was alive. And now I realize that the power of thought is the most wonderful thing that anyone could have. It can move mountains, it can move trees, and it can certainly sway a lot of decisions to become good and not bad. And I'm sure you know each and every one of us here, including myself in my time with Mrs. Graham Backpuss, we've all done things that we regret. And I certainly did. I'm not going to say I was Mr. Goody Two Shoes. Is that all right, Miss Freeman?
Of course, Colonel.
Yes. Of course what?
Of course it's right.
Right, yes. Well, say that then, dear. You know, you have to admit when you're wrong and when you're right, because that is the truth. Otherwise, it eats you up like a virus. And we all know what the virus is like in your world now, but I suppose old Misery Gut Sydney has already told you about that, but I'm not going to harp on about what he says. But, you know, everybody is their own person. The same as over in the spirit world, every person that leaves your world comes over to our world. And you may think to yourself, how can so many millions of people live in the world of spirit? Well, ask yourself, how do so many millions live in your world? You have different countries, you have the ocean, you have variation of different languages from yin yang to China to whatever. The same as we do. We don't all speak English in the spirit world. And that's why certain guides that come through know how to translate. And it's like you know, if you see someone in your world that speaks a foreign language and you find someone that can translate for them, then you get that translator. And it's the same in the spirit world. You get a spirit person that does know a damn word of English, that speaks German, Dutch, or whatever language, Chinese, Japanese, or whatever, then you get a translator, because guides are translators as well. And they are more than willing to help you assist. So, you get some people or some mediums that will actually say, oh, he's saying this, oh, he's saying that. And you think, well, how can he do if he speaks in a foreign language? And that has been done so many times when, some woman has actually said once, she said, but how do you understand my granny? She couldn't speak a word of English because she was born in India. And you know what happened then? They know I don't do this.
What happened then, Colonel Gray?
Well, you see, even though this young girl spoke back and said, but my granny died in India and she was Indian, didn't speak a word of English. The medium, therefore, as he said, well, it's a translation thing. The guide steps in to translate what the woman was saying, even though it may sound as a not to do thing, but it is a do thing. But the medium's got to be honest and tell the person that she's speaking in a foreign language. Wait a moment, I'll get the guide to translate what she's saying or what he's saying. Then that way, you've got your own back covered, have you not?
You have indeed.
Now, am I making sense so far?
You're definitely making sense, Colonel.
Well, that's good, because we don't want to make errors, do we, Miss Freeman?
No, Colonel Gray.
Now, don't be facetious. I do like your tone.
I apologise.
So you should. So, you see, so everything works in a different format and a different texture and a different style. But you have to connect with the right person to know whether you get your own guide in to translate for you, because in that way it becomes a three-way conversation and not a two-way. Because how the devil can you understand what he or she is saying if you can't say, well, the guy's coming in to help? Admittance is the truth, and the truth is admittance. Does that make sense?
Does
It
indeed.
does. It does. So you see, there is so much to learn about mediumship, about trancey-mancy talks and all stuff like that, and also the physical mediumship. There is so much to learn about how gracious is the next person going to be allowed to sit and develop a promising gift that they think they've got, but they haven't got at all. And I think, as Miss Freeman said in the beginning, it doesn't all come in a jar of jam or a little pot in cooking sauce or anything like that. It has to be taught from the spirit world. And that's why in your own development, guys change over the years, you become stronger, you become better. And that way your evidence becomes stronger. And then people say, oh, isn't she good? Oh, isn't she good? Oh, I like this person. I think I'll see him or her again. Not walk out and say, what a rubbish that was. Couldn't understand that word that they were saying. Now, to me, people need to be honest and truthful, not say, oh, yes, when they really want to say, oh, no, oh, no. Because we always hear people say, what a load of crap that was. And that's in their thought vibration. So people need to remember that everyone's thoughts come over to the spirit world. And that's how we find out whether the medium's a good medium or a terrible medium. Now, does the woman Lynn agree with me?
Lynn, you can unmute yourself.
Why can't she talk?
She can now, yes.
Yes. Of course, I agree with you. And I was just thinking how interesting it was that you were giving information to us as mediums, that who is actually present and about us. And thank you very much for the information. And yes, of course, we agree with you.
Well,
Well,
each and every one of you that's here this evening, you've all got spirit people at the side of you. And it's not just your guides or your helpers or anything like that. It's family relatives.
Yes.
And do we, even though we may think about them, but do we actually talk and say, oh, help me across the road, tell me what time the bus is due, tell me what time the choo-choo train is going to arrive, or help me in my destination? It's not always about being spiritual, it's being honest. And we don't like to be treated as, like Jesus on the cross. We felt sorry for Jesus when he died, but spirit people are people who love you all, care for you all, but we're still there to protect and guide you all in the different variations of life.
Mm.
So there's no harm in saying, oh, what road do I take? Am I on the right path? Not, oh, holy thee and thou. Because even though there's a time and a place for when you can be holy thee and thou, there's a time and a place where you can be yourselves, as I'm sure all of you are.
Judith and I have always been of the same opinion that you have just confirmed to us for years.
Well, that's very good.
We have always thanked everybody for helping us in our daily life. Parking space, particularly.
Yeah, the parking fairies are very, the parking fairies are very good.
What are the parking bloody fairies?
So when we need a parking space, we ask Spirit, please clear the way. We need a parking space because we can't walk very far.
We always get one.
Well, you don't think fairies are going to come down and show you a parking space, do you?
Yes.
You stupid woman.
We always ask for parking spaces.
Well, there's a difference between asking for a parking space and saying, oh, please, fairy, find me a parking space.
Yes.
Never heard anything so ridiculous before, Judith. Grow up, girl.
Well, Colonel, I've always said that the spirit world is not the lost property department of British Rail. So, we have to be responsible for our own actions, and they can't find us or point us to everything.
You've got to be responsible for your own actions because they don't bloody exist.
Exactly.
Well, why did you say spirit fairies and they're going to find you a parking space?
Well, there you go.
Be more realistic, not unrealistic, and come up with silly scenarios like that. Parking fairies, I've never heard such rot in all my life. As I tell, you all have guides, helpers, but well, tell me, Miss Freeman, do you regard your father as a parking fairy?
Sometimes.
Well, you shouldn't, because they won't whip you one if he was alive.
No, Colonel, we're jesting with you.
No, you're not. You're being serious. I know by the tone in your voice. Don't lie to me.
You know me too well, Colonel Gray.
I do know you very well, Judith, dear.
I
You don't
know.
give me no old codswallop, thank you.
Yes.
But you know, anything is achievable if you want it to become achievable. But life is life. Life is for the living, not for us. We are just there to look after, protect, and guide all the time, 24 hours a day. And we don't need to sleep either, because we don't need to. Well, we do, but we more rest. We don't shut our eyes, nod off, and sleep under the quilt cover. Who made that little remark then?
There wasn't a remark.
Oh, I'm sure I heard a little sigh. But no, so we only need to rest when we have been talking through a medium. Now,
I was muted.
I
was muted, but I did giggle, and God bless you. You heard that.
Oh, I've got ears like a bat, you know. Being in the army, you had to have sharp ears.
Bless you, Colonel.
Very sharp. Don't bless me when you don't mean a blessing. Oh, you can make a nun puke, you know. You could do this. All your baloney, all your rubbish. Now, I know that, you know, now you've lost me thread of speech now. But no, the spirit world is a nice world. Your world, I would want to come back in. I would not want to be reborn and suffer the pain and the anguish that you'll go through. But, you know, there are lessons to learn. There are new people that you'll meet. And, you know, ever since your childhood into the adulthood that you are now, how many of you can actually say, I know and I can remember everyone I ever met? You can't. And do you know why you can't?
Why can't we remember, Colonel Gray?
Well, if you see someone in your supermarket, you say hello, you will remember that person the next day or the next week or the next month.
Very true.
It's only for the fact that if you remain a good friend with someone, a loyal good friend like me, a loyal person, you know, then you remember that person for the rest of your life. And that's why, you know, you always meet. It's a bit like a game of cards. You either win or you lose. Or you build the dominoes and you win or you lose. And trust me, you know, in a game of cards, and life is like a game of cards. You either get delivered the good hand or the bad hand, but it depends how well you play your cards to become good. Now, is that all right?
Yes, definitely.
Now, you know, now the woman Moira.
Moira, you can unmute yourself.
Hello, Colonel.
Now, how are you, dear?
I'm well.
But are you feeling a lot better now?
Yes.
Now, are you on I told that you're on the spiritual journey of your own.
Yes.
And that you're becoming more understanding now compared to what you was 2 years ago.
Yes.
And, you know, I'm going to say that as time goes by, you're going to become quite a good little vessel for the spirit world, because you're going to be meeting a lot of like-minded people that have been through the same situation as to what you have been, and you'll find that you'll be helping them as we have helped you.
That's good.
So, you know, there's always lessons to learn, but there's good lessons to learn. And, you know, even though your life has been extremely hard and very difficult over the years, but I'm told that you are turning it around.
Trying.
No, you're turning it around. We never try in life, we do in life. Because we've learned all the mistakes of the past, and what mistakes we learn, we wrap up and throw away like an old newspaper. So the only way to march is forward, not backwards, because otherwise if you go backwards, that you're re-meeting everything you don't want to re-meet again. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yes.
So what I'm going to say is march forward, eyes held well open. And you'll find that the rewards are going to become a lot more in your favour than not in your favour. And your belief in the afterlife is going to help you a lot more.
Yeah.
So I will leave you with that, but you do have your father with you and your hubby with you as well, which I'm
Thank-
sure you know anyway. So that's her done, right? That's whatever she does now, Judith.
Okay. All right.
Now,
So I need
where's-
to mute you again. That's it. Well done, Wara.
Right, now, where's this Jean woman?
She's down the bottom. Jean, you can. That's it. Hello,
She's
Jean.
on the bottom. What's she on the bottom for?
Well,
Hello.
I can see it. I can see a screen, Colonel, and I've got lots of pictures on it. But she's at the bottom of the screen.
Well, why
Hello,
don't you say
Colonel.
that then? Instead of saying she's on her bottom. Oh, Judith, you've got so much to learn, dear. Now, Jean, can you hear me okay, dear?
I can, thank you, Colonel.
Now, where are you from? You're not an English Rose.
I'm from Wolverhampton.
Oh, where's that?
It's in West Midlands.
Is that in marshy grounds?
Don't think so. In the middle of the country.
In the middle of the country, Colonel.
Wolverhamptons. But there we go. Oh, if it's countryside, then that's right up my street. Thank you, Judith. I didn't need you to interrupt and tell me. Now, Jean, the nice thing about you, now you remind me of a little pink rose.
That's
And
nice, thank you.
I know every woman is like a rose or red rose or yellow rose, but I think in your case, you're like a little pink rose. But sometimes you've been misunderstood, very much so by a lot of people
That's true.
who you've trusted and found out they stuck you in the knife with the back and stuck you in the back with your knife.
That's so true.
And you're like a little dolly, a little pin dolly, the way you had so many needles in your back. That each time you pull one out, another one goes in.
That's correct.
So you've learned the hard way over many years. But now I would say that the spirit world do give you healing. One thing I never I thought was loads of old rots before, but I don't now. But you have received a lot of healing from the spirit world, but it's also changed your mind of thought.
Yes.
And it's mentally making you a lot more stronger. And you can be a little bit of a tigress once you get going, Jean. I don't think you're like the little lamb that she used to be. It's like lamb to the slaughter. You're more so like the tiger that's ferocious and got that real old growl with her voice. Which needs to be done, not all the time, but when required. Because,
Yes.
I keep being told, that so many people, male and female, have wiped their mucky old boots all over you and you've allowed it to happen.
Right, so yes.
And you go home and you bawl your eyes out.
Yes.
And you think, why me, why me? Well, I think, well, it was all her own bloody fault. She allowed it to happen. Why she let it happen? But now I want to say that you're growing like the rose that you should grow like and be like.
Thank
And
you.
there's a lot more good things coming your way. You're a grandmother, are you, as well?
No.
Well, someone's going to be a grandmother then, because I keep hearing grandmother.
My
Unless it's your
grandmother's a
grandmother's
spirit.
passed away.
Yeah, she's usually with me.
Oh. Well, it's probably butting in, old witch. She's on butting while I'm talking. But you have a lot more encouraging and a lot more rewards to collect. It's like the little scouty person. We like to pin a badge on each person that gets the rewards. And you're slowly getting your rewards because you become a lot more ferocious.
I see.
Does that make sense?
It does now, thank you.
Oh, I do like your accent. It's a funny accent, though. But it's interesting. But we can't help where we come from, though, can we? Now, is this right that you're a little bit of a trancey medium as well?
I've only tried it once.
And you didn't like it?
I wasn't confident.
Your baby.
I did like it, but just not confident.
Well, your confidence will grow, dear, because we need people like you, not to cry every time you get something wrong. Oh, I can't do it. You can do it, and you know you can do it.
Thank you.
And you know the spirit world will never, never let you down.
I know that.
Well then, believe in yourself and believe in your gift, because it's all there. Right, shut it down now, Judith.
Okay,
Thank
Jean,
you so much.
if you go back to being silent. Okay, who you going next, Colonel?
Well, I don't know, Judith. I'll have to have a look. I'll look in my diary, shall I?
Yes, have a look in your diary.
Don't be so facetious. There's a nice little man in the corner I can see.
John, yes.
No, you didn't. Don't tell me his name. I tell you.
All right.
He's a nice little man. He's more well-spoken than you are. You sound very brash and annoyed, where Mr. John is actually a very nice person. Now, how can you make him talk?
It's okay. He can talk now.
Oh, right. Can you hear me, Mr. John?
Yes, can hear you loud and clear, Colonel.
Now, you know, in your life, you know, it's been very bit like Jean's life. It's been very penny and cushiony. You've had a lot of treachery somewhere in your life as well.
Yeah.
And, you know, you always take it on the back and you take it on the chin. As you know, everybody's got a soft heart, but your heart is extra soft.
Yes,
and you're quite an emotional man as well, but you wear your heart on your sleeve.
Yeah, be known.
But we mean to be nice. It is nice. But, you know, you have a lot of spirit people around you, particularly parents, aunties and grandparents.
Yeah.
And they're forever protecting you. And I've just been told as well that your guides have changed, in which case your spiritual work must have changed a lot more, because you're giving more evidence and more detailed evidence.
Yes, certainly am.
As you know, and I've also been told as well that you're a very good healing man.
Yep, certainly am. So I've been
But
told.
you have healing hands, but verbally you're quite good at sending out lots of prayers and lots of good thoughts and good wishes.
I try my best.
No, you don't, you do. But you've got to think of yourself.
Very true.
Oh, and your good lady as well, because she's going to be all right, you know.
Yeah.
And even though I know the worrying is concerning, but we don't want her yet. She's got quite a way to go in your world yet. Now, she's on medication as well, so I'm told.
Yes, lots of it.
Well, about 8 or 9 bottles of pills and medication and all sorts.
Yeah.
Which she hates taking.
Yeah, she does.
And does she also have hearty problems?
Yeah.
Oh, she's falling to bits.
Certainly is.
But she's got a heart of gold, though, but she worries far too much. And, you know, she does shed tears.
Yeah.
But she only shed tears in front of you, but she tries not to shed them in front of you because it starts you off.
Yeah.
Well, you can tell your wife, Crusoe, that we don't want her yet. Still got quite a long way to go. But her medication will change. If it hasn't already, it will change very shortly for the best.
Yes, that's we're expecting that to happen in the next couple of weeks.
Well, then I'm right then, because I've just told you beforehand. But, you know, you've got to, you know, I think once wifey is home, and you're going, have you had new bookings as well from different areas or different churches?
Yes, I've had some new ones for this year.
And have you had anything from a place in Durham or somewhere like that?
I have had somebody ask me to go up there, but it's too far for me to travel at the moment.
No, I didn't say you go next week. But accept the booking, because, you know, in the summertime, it's going to be a wonderful time, and you do like the summer more than you like the winter.
Yeah.
And plus, your old bones won't be so frizzled and frazzled in the cold, where they'll be hot. So you'll be perfectly okay. And someone's also just said about you getting a new suit as well.
Oh, yeah, I'm looking at them.
Well, don't look, you've got to buy. There's no point in looking if you're not going to buy. You need to buy. But did you not used to own a penny striped suit?
I used to have one. I haven't got one now.
No, don't wear one now. You look damn ridiculous. But in the younger years, though, you did have a penny striped suit
Yeah.
with the most appalling ties as well. But you wear sensible ties though now. But also, you know, before I finish with you, I want to give you plant a poppy on your coat for
Yeah.
someone that passed away in Armistice Day.
Yeah.
In fact, there's quite a few poppies actually, because you knew quite a lot of people that passed away in the war.
Yeah.
So, and you also know someone in the spirit world called Frank,
Yeah.
including myself. Now you know of Frank, but you also knew. I think you know someone in this world. What's his name? Come on, tell me. I think with the surname of Coburn or Cobin.
Yeah. Understand that.
You understand that?
Yeah.
Well, you've got a nice little pathway ahead of you, and the warmer weather is coming in your world, so you won't have to shiver, shake, or whatever. And you do have a touch of rheumatism in your body as well.
Yeah.
But the warmer the weather, the better the bones. Now, I will leave that with you. Who's left now, Judith?
Thank you.
We've got another young lady here.
Well, put her on then.
Okay, Kim, would you like to unmute yourself?
Hello.
Now, can she, oh, there you are, dear. Now, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you.
Well, that's good. Now, you know, now, correct me if I'm wrong, but is your hair dyed?
Sorry.
Is your hair got a different colour on it?
Yeah.
Are you not grey underneath that colour?
No. No.
Ooh, it's strange because someone just said all there's grey strands in her hair.
Well, yeah. Well, there is a few.
Well, they don't lie to me, then, dear. I've just told you got grey strands. You said no. Now, you're quite a spiritual person as well.
Yes.
But you know, your spirituality is like the deck of cards I was talking about. First you want to do it, then you don't, then you do, then you don't. Is that right?
Yes.
Well, then, you know, I'm going to say to you that do your own deck of cards in your favour, not in everybody else's.
Mm.
And, you know, somewhere in your pathway or your life, you haven't always had a lot of belief in yourself or self-belief in yourself, where, you know, you've got a lot of relatives in the spirit world that heal you because you can't heal yourself. Well, you can, but you can't. So you have a lot of family that heal you and want you a better person. Now, is it also right that you was on medication as well,
Yes.
but you're not on so much of it now?
No.
And was you drinking a little bit of wine as well?
Am I drinking wine?
No, did you used to like a little tipple of wine?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Well, not a little tipple, in fact, bottles of it.
I didn't.
Like an old wino, really. She was a wino, Judy.
Now, Colonel,
I'm being
I wasn't.
truthful.
I know, but there is a way of putting it.
Well, how else are you supposed to say you had a tipple of wine
Well,
when she had a few bottles of it?
Yeah.
But the important thing is, though, she sorted herself out. And that's the important part of seeing the difference in the pathway now compared to the pathway that you used to be on. Now, is it not right also that at some point of life you wanted to come over to my side of life in the spirit world
Yes.
on quite a few occasions?
Yeah.
But aren't you glad you didn't and you're staying where you are? And do you not do some poetry or writings as well,
Yes.
which have not been published?
Yes.
But they will, at some point of time, they will. Because even though you're not fully recovered, you will be. And that is, it's a bit like half and half, really, because you're half recovered and you're half not, because you still doubt yourself. So the good thing about it is, you will recover, you will gain all your inner strength to become outer strength, and you'll be roaring like the lion. Be like Gene Wiener, ferocious tiger. You can be the ferocious lion. because you are very protective over a lot of people, but not protective over yourself. And you help a lot of people, but you don't think of you. And you always give a lot to other people, but you don't give to yourself.
Very
So I
true.
think in the course of this year and many years to come, you'll actually think of yourself in more ways than you've ever done. And it's not a selfish thing to think that. It's a humane thing to think that I deserve a bit of healing. I deserve to be pampered. It's a bit like all you women, you like your nails done, your feet done, your hair done. Not like us men who haven't got no hair, where we can't have our head. There's not much to do. But treat yourself. Be more kinder to yourself. Relax. Watch TV as you do in your world. Where in my world, we didn't have TV. We just had to put up with whatever was going on. If you had a boring wife like Mrs. Gray, you want to kill her. But life is for you and it's your life. But let it be your life and not share it with everybody else. Because I think, there's a lot of kindness in you, girl, but you just don't deliver it to yourself enough. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
And you're not going mad either, and you're not going loopy. If you were, I'd tell you that I wouldn't bother talking to you. I'd just say, get in a straight jacket, girl. But you don't need a straight jacket because a lot of it has been put in your mind by other people, not by you. And you've been influenced by the wrong people in the past as well. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Where not anymore. You've got to become fully in control, and control is your key. And I can actually say, I will give you a key to open the door for you to next walk through, and you'll be very happy about it. Because the sun's a lot more happier and a lot more shining brighter than it is at the moment. Is that right?
Yes, correct.
Right, that's it, Judith.
Okay, you can mute yourself, Kim. Thank you. Thank you, Colonel.
Why? I'm speaking to Kim, not you. Right, I think I've done my time anyway. Now, haven't I been good?
Yes, you've been very good. Thank you, Colonel.
Yes, and you may thank me now.
Thank you.
No, you said that in a dull tone.
Thank you, Colonel. We've really appreciated all your
You don't have to be
messages.
grovelly in a sick kind of way.
No,
Just say your thank yous in a nice way.
thank you, Colonel Gray. We've really appreciated everything
now
you've
tell
done.
me, young Miss Freeman, are you going to be holding more of these events? Because there's more spirit people that would love to talk to people.
We are, Colonel, yes, and it's been a pleasure to listen to you.
Well, I'll soon know if you're lying to me, Mrs.
I know.
Yes, you want to remember whether we can tell everything what you're thinking. So when you hold your next one, there'll be two more. And I think one of them's a lady that will come to the next time with a little boy.
Thank you.
Why are you thanking me? They're not here yet. And I think he said his name was Tommy or Timmy. And he passed away, I think, when he was 8 or 9 years of age.
Okay.
So he will want to speak as well. Don't keep saying thank you all the time. It's not becoming of you. And the lady is I'm not going to say nothing because it will give it away. But she's a very nice woman who done great things in this world as well. And she has spoken to you before, so I've just been told. It's a long time ago.
I've been very privileged.
Now, do I take that as a serious thing?
That was very serious. No, that was very serious. I've been very privileged to have conversations with lots of very, very nice people from the spirit world, including yourself.
Right. Oh, and there might also be a gentleman as well that might want to come through. He talks very snobby. I don't know who he is, but he was an entertainer in the world.
Oh, yes. I've spoken to that gentleman too.
Well, don't say who it is.
I'm not going to.
Oh, good. I know what you like, girl. Right, well, I will leave you to it now. Now, what's the next one then? Is this a once a weekly thing or once a monthly thing or what?
Is
Well, give me the answer then.
sorry, I didn't hear what you said,
I
Colonel.
said, is this going to be a weekly thing or a monthly thing or what?
We don't know yet. It just depends on when we can do it.
Oh, right. Well, make sure you get a firm date so that we can get ready as well.
Okay.
Right, goodbye.
Bye. As you can see, the Colonel and I have a torrid relationship. Just going to see if Maud's going to come back. No, we've got Alan. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you onto, I'm going to stop recording now so that we can have a conversation. But thank you everybody for being patient while we talk to everybody. Because it is, as you can see, sometimes we get people that like to rule the roost. Just 1 second while I finish the